Big Goodwin here, and eventually we will like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, help promote and rank up my channel. So recently Mandalorian Season 2 ended, and it ended in a way that was just unimaginable that this could ever happen under the Disney Star Wars umbrella, or at least in my opinion. But it was spectacular, and it left me excited for the future, the possibilities, what could happen, what could come of it. And these shows, this interconnected, shared universe of shows that is kind of the reverse of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel Cinematic Universe got started real big with the movie side of things. It built itself up, and now it's delving into the TV side, and Star Wars fell tremendously under the Disney umbrella. The sequel trilogy did not go as well as one would hope. It broke the Star Wars fan base in two, left it devastated and damaged. Jon Favreau has recently kind of walked some of that back. He's managed to heal a portion of the base. Can they continue that? Who knows if they can continue down this road where they kind of fix the fractured fan base. But what I find fascinating is the Star Wars approach now. Since the movies fell, now there is an opportunity through this TV side of things to really build things up and bring them back to the way they were. And I'm excited about the potential, the possibilities for the first time in a while. So I want to do this top 10 list of which ones I'm most excited for, from worst to best, and get your take in the comments section below. I want to hear what you think, which ones you're most excited for, what possibilities and outcomes do you think can come of this. Let's talk about it. And at number 10, Star Wars Visions, an original series of animated short films, celebrates the Star Wars galaxy through the lens of the world's best Japanese anime creators. And this is coming in 2021 to Disney+. There will be 10 fantastic visions through the lens of anime creators. Now, to me, this kind of sounds like the whole Clone Wars shorts before it got a full-blown series. This sounds like it could be that, but these are going to be separate little stories, I would assume, unassociated with each other. Just, they could be pretty fantastic. They could be pretty great, but because they're shorts and they're just anime versions of Star Wars told in shorts. How short, I don't know, but I'm not really that excited for it. It could be cool. I have enjoyed some anime before, but I'm not a big anime fanatic. My favorite animes tend to be like Cowboy Bebop and Trigun, a few other ones out there, but I'm not huge on anime, so I'm not tremendously excited for this. I have seen, some Star Wars anime, how great it can look. It could be fantastic, but the real thing that makes it where it's just not that important is the fact that it's anime, animated, and it's shorts. That Star Wars have just done plenty of animated shorts, so this doesn't sound to me like it's going to have any real big tie into anything or lead to anything that's really that awesome or that great. Now, on the other hand, some of these could be Knights of the Old Republic, based around Knights of the Old Republic characters and stories, and that could be fantastic. So there is a positive side, even in the negative, but it's the one I'm least excited for because there have been plenty of Star Wars animated shorts, and they just aren't that impactful. So coming in at number 9, A Droid's Story. Lucasfilm Animation will be teaming up with Lucasfilm Visual Effects, Industrial Light and Magic to develop a special Star Wars adventure for Disney+, A Droid's Story. This epic journey will introduce us to a new hero guided by legendary duo R2-D2 and C-3PO. Now, this one baffles me because we already did this in the 80s. So I don't have a lot of high hopes for this one. I almost regret putting the anime one at number 10 because that one's probably actually going to be cooler when it all comes down to it. But there is also high potential to get something exceptional out of this. It would have been better if it was, say, live action, and we weren't kind of just doing what we've already done before, because this has existed as animation. So maybe a different approach, a better approach, would have been live action. However, whoever this new hero is, there is a lot of potential in determining where it's set at in the timeline. For instance, if this is truly a droid story and all of our characters are droids, what's to say our new hero couldn't be somebody as epic and legendary as HK-47? It's a small window of opportunity that I don't think they'll pay off on, especially since this is going to be an animated thing on Disney Plus, and HK-47 is quite the murderous guy. But anyways, I don't have high hopes for this one. I can't imagine what it would be like, and I can't imagine that it would last long if your hero isn't somebody of some kind of true epic proportions, because R2-D2 and C-3PO will get pretty boring on screen. Alright, so coming in at number 8, Andor, a tense, nail-biting spy thriller. Now, I don't know how tense it can be when your title character is dead, and when your title character isn't even that memorable, I don't know why you're so hell-bent on doing it. No shade at Rogue One fans, but Rogue One is actually the only Disney Star Wars movie I like, and that's because the outcome, what success meant for the characters, the payoff, that sacrifice being made for a later victory down the road. But when we know the outcome for your title character, and you're giving us a tense, nail-biting spy thriller, of course it will have Mon Mothma, and the most memorable character in the movie was actually the droid, which I don't know if will be a part of this. This is set to take 5 years before Rogue One. But I just don't have a lot of hopes or expectations for this, because none of the characters in that particular movie were all that memorable, and I wouldn't even remember Cassian Andor's name had they not been announcing a TV show based on him, despite the fact I do actually enjoy the Rogue One movie. So, as far as spy thrillers go, I don't know. I kind of get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. vibes, not to shame Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans either, because those characters I actually do think are more memorable and likable compared to somebody like Cassian Andor. So, I don't know how well this show will work. It will have Mon Mothma and a few other characters in there. I'm not sure. The potential, on the plus side, the potential for other characters to come up from Star Wars The Expanded Universe, and maybe Starkiller, all these other interesting characters that he may be able to interact with. However, I think when you're designing a show, you don't want to have people more excited about who the character could interact with than the actual main title character of the show that the show's actually named after. So, I don't have a lot of high hopes for this one, or really high expectations. I'm not the greatest fan of spy thrillers, and I don't find this character particularly memorable when it comes down to it. And considering the fact that he's already dead, and we know this, I'm not sure how tense it could be. Alright, so number 7, Lando. This Disney Plus series, I'm not really sure about. I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know if it'd be played by Donald Glover or Billy D. Williams, but I do know one thing for sure. Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian, is one of the coolest cats in the Star Wars universe. So, but much like people who didn't want to see a Han Solo movie without Harrison Ford, me being one of them, I don't want to see a Lando series without Billy D. Williams. I never even finished the Solo movie. It's not that it was really god-awful or anything like that. I just turned it off. Like, I just don't want to look at Star Wars right now. I'm not into this. And I never got around to finishing it, so I'm not sure if this would be a combination of Billy D. Williams and Donald Glover, maybe flash forwards, flashbacks. It's really interesting what they could actually accomplish with it. But is it necessary? Is it going to do anything for us? I think it's ultimately just to continue whatever intentions they had for Solo, that being the only movie that really ever lost Star Wars money, that I feel like they wanted to continue that story and pay off whatever they were intending to pay off, wherever it was going to lead. Two more installments or whatever in a Solo trilogy, but the Solo movie is now just a Solo film, and I expect them to continue whatever they had intended for the Solo franchise, or the Solo trilogy, for this series here. But it's not one I have a lot of hopes or expectations for, and I've heard a lot of stuff about what they did with the character in the actual Solo movie that I wasn't too fond of. So let's just move on. Alright, coming in at number 6, The Acolyte was described as a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the Old Republic era. I need a mustache twirl. That's a period of the timeline that is largely unexplored. In fact, it's an era that's only recently been announced, with an upcoming set of books set to explore a society of highly populated by Jedi a couple of hundred years prior to the Skywalker saga. If The Acolyte is described as being set in the final days of the High Republic, it should take place 100 years prior to the prequels. Not to mention, this one has been described as female-centric, and it will include martial arts elements. So, my concern about this one is that it's going to be a preaching situation in the Last Jedi fashion, in the fashion of the Last Jedi, women putting down men being made to look stupid. Unfortunately, I don't want that, and hopefully that's not the case, but showrunner Leslie Headland, I believe she's the showrunner, kind of has a reputation. But on the positive side, the potential, if this sticks to just giving fans awesome content and not putting down people based on sexual gender and stuff like that, you could see Disney do something different. Not milk the Star Wars franchise for nostalgia for once. Actually do something new, creative, on their own, that they've actually planned for, instead of just doing it on a whim, doing at a moment's notice, and pretending that they had a plan all along. So this one could be really interesting. All kinds of new characters, new technology, just awesome stuff, awesome showdowns. Sounds like it will be combat heavy, but will the execution be good? Will it be sort of Daredevil, or will it be something that looks pretty bad? There's a lot of potential in this one. Hopefully it doesn't get wasted, but I put this at number 6 because I'm approaching this one with caution. Coming in at number 5, The Bad Batch. The series follows an elite experimental batch of clones, that were introduced in the Clone Wars. This follows the immediate aftermath of the Clone War. Members of the Bad Batch, a unique squad of clones who vary genetically from their brothers in the clone army, each possesses a singular exceptional skill, which makes them extraordinarily effective soldiers and a formidable crew. In the post-Clone War era, they will take on daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose. Now, I'm not particularly excited for this one. I wasn't like a hardcore, die-hard Clone Wars fan or whatever. I watched the show. They had episodes that were a hit or miss as the show went on. They gradually got more serious with their content, I guess, as their audience grew up. But this show follows around this batch. I'm just curious, where can it lead? What new purpose will they find? And it does include characters that we've seen in The Mandalorian, like Finnick will be in this show. We'll see her in her early days, and it's interesting to see what kind of characters they could come across. Will they be fighting clones on a regular basis? Will they encounter Darth Vader? All that stuff. But then again, this is an era that is heavily explored, and even more so now as they're announcing all these shows. This is a part of the timeline that has been heavily explored, but it is curious to kind of just who will they interact with, what will they do, where will they go. This is, of course, something I can watch with my children on a regular basis and review. It's not one of the best ones, but it'll definitely capture my children's attention. So it's up there in content I will review. But I don't have a lot of high hopes or expectations for this one. I do expect some great character cameos, and there's some potential that could come out of it. Will these guys ever grace live action? Will they ever come into live action? Well, how much of Finnick will we get to see develop from this? It's curious. It's interesting. And I guess we'll see what happens. But this kind of... It's a very middle of the road excitement level for this show. It's not even, I don't know if I'd even consider excitement. I'm yeah, I'll tune in for that. I can watch that one with my kids. So, what do you think of that one? Alright, so coming in at number 4 is Rangers of the New Republic. Now, we've already seen some characters. X-Wing pilots Carson Teva, I believe is how you pronounce it, and Trapper Wolf, which has been featured multiple times in The Mandalorian, giving viewers a reason to believe the figures are meant for a larger role in the franchise, seeing as Wolf is played by Dave Filoni, one of the creators of Rangers of the New Republic. This series definitely has the opportunity to feature the X-Wing pilot. So, you've got Cara Dune. Obviously, you might have Bill Burr on board. You might actually get some Timothy Olyphant in there, coming back as Cobb Vanth, as these guys try to bring order to the outskirts, try to bring law to the outskirts of the New Republic, and try to hunt down Imperial remnants that are a much larger threat than they expected, much larger in terms of scale and scope. And you might also get Moff Gideon in there being pumped for information that leads them to investigating these places, these situations. There's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of high hopes, and Cara Dune, that character played by Gina Carano, is absolutely awesome. She's really popular. This could go many places, many different ways. This might also have some kind of tie-in to the Patty Jenkins Rogue One film. And it's also, there are reports saying that this has some kind of tie-in with the Ahsoka show, and we already know what tie-ins it has with the Mandalorian. So I've got a lot of high hopes for this one. I want to see Rebels in action, and I think it would be pretty awesome, especially if Gina Carano is going to be the title character as Cara Dune. There's a lot of things we could get out of this that are pretty cool to imagine. This would actually rank higher up on my list. This will be set in the timeline of The Mandalorian, and this likely won't feature Jedi or Sith, stuff like that. It will probably just be Rebels versus Imperials on a regular basis, but it's quite intriguing and stuff. Just the potential that's there. Expecting characters like Mon Mothma or some kind of tie-in to the Cassian Andor series, possibly some kind of Leia voiceover, something there where they're referencing General Leia, and the tie-in to the Ahsoka series is likely Grand Admiral Thrawn. So there's a lot of potential and expectations when it comes to this one that can really pay off greatly, tremendously. Alright, so coming in at number 3, the Ahsoka Tano series. The possibilities are unlimited. And that's why this one's really this high up here. It's not because I'm the most diehard Ahsoka fan. It took me a little bit to get into the Clone Wars and the idea of Anakin actually having a Padawan between films that we never get to see in live action. And just a lot of the things that come with that, really. Star Wars does a lot of things that kind of retcon continuity. They do a lot of things. They've always done these things, and that's Actually, the reason I'm mostly excited about this show is because the potential. We all know Ahsoka Tano is looking for Admiral Thrawn, last seen with Ezra Bridger. Ezra Bridger had this world between worlds thing, that this sort of time travel device within the Star Wars universe, which I'm not fond of, but if it can disregard the sequel trilogy, then I'm on board, and that's a high possibility with this. When you look at the logo, you know the characters, what happened on Rebels, a series I wasn't really fond of. So when it comes to getting Ezra Bridger in live action, it's this whole show. My whole excitement stems from the possibility that all those rumors about Star Wars erasing the Disney sequel trilogy, which fractured the Star Wars fan base, shattered it. My whole excitement level stems from the idea, the notion, the possibility that they could disregard said sequel trilogy through this time travel device. But how will it be used? How will it be utilized? Will it just be used to disregard the sequel trilogy? Will it be used to actually retcon something in the prequel trilogy? Because as we know, Hayden Christensen is coming back as Anakin. Of course, he will be playing Darth Vader the majority of the time, and this is the possibility of getting Force Ghost Anakin on here, but also just the Kathleen Kennedy saying the rematch of the century between Obi-Wan and Anakin, two characters who weren't supposed to meet before A New Hope, in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. But things are changing, things are in motion, the future is always in motion. So there's just a lot of possibilities with this one, and Rosario Dawson, regardless, is awesome as live action Ahsoka. It's really awesome, impressive, and one of my hopes for this series is that we get a potential Clone Wars flashback, maybe several of them, so we can actually see Ahsoka Tano with Anakin and hopefully Obi-Wan in the past in live action. So let's move on to the next one. Number 2, the Book of Boba Fett. The big surprise that they didn't even announce on Disney Investor Day. Boba Fett's back. He's taken the throne of Jabba's palace. He's taken Jabba's throne. Bib Fortuna was trying to live up to that Jabba weight. And this is just going to be a really cool, fun series to finally get Boba Fett really fleshed out. Is he going to become a crime boss? Is he going to organize a crime syndicate? What's going to come of this? There's just so many characters, too, that could pop up on this show. So many. It's my hope that we get to see most of the bounty hunters back from The Empire Strikes Back, most of them here in live action. That's one of my hopes. I want a sort of Breaking Bad Boba Fett series that I think would be really awesome. It could potentially lead to just all kinds of things, not just bounty hunts, assassination missions, and growing this crime syndicate, this crime ring, building it from the ground up, are fixing it because it's already built. But who knows how well Bib Fortuna was handling it, handling things in Jabba's absence. So I also expect to see flashbacks from how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit. Maybe we can get some flashbacks, too, to Boba Fett in his younger days as an up-and-coming bounty hunter. Some scenes where it actually shows flashbacks with Jabba, how he got so deep into Jabba's organization, how he became like Jabba's sort of go-to guy. There's just so many cool things in here that they could elaborate on and flesh out, and I'm just really excited to see this play out, see where it goes. Hopefully see characters like IG-88, Bosk, Forlom, some of those in there I would really like to see, and this show's just got me incredibly excited. Breaking Bad, Star Wars style, Boba Fett, crime syndicate, build it from the ground up. That's what I expect anyway. It could be completely different from my expectations, and but hopefully it aligns with my expectations, because there's just so much that we could get in this. All those bounty hunters, flashbacks to maybe even Jango Fett, not just Boba Fett, but Boba Fett, how he came to just regular hanging out in the Jabba's palace and all that. There's so many things in there I want to see. Moving on. In at number 1, Obi-Wan.
Hello there. Hello there.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not see this coming? Obi-Wan's my absolute favorite character, especially Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan. Awesome character. Best thing from the prequel trilogy, along with something like Qui-Gon Jinn, which could actually be a possibility in this series, to get Force Ghost Qui-Gon Jinn, a session with Force Ghost Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. That would be absolutely amazing. Hayden Christensen is back to play as Darth Vader. Now, are they going to have scenes like in The Empire Strikes Back where you just briefly see his face, how it's all damaged and stuff while the helmet's coming down? Are we going to see flashbacks to the Clone Wars days with Obi-Wan and Anakin? And because the guy that actually played the voice of the clones and the clones is back, and not as Boba Fett, maybe we'll get to see him as a clone, as Commander Cody. There's speculations, there's rumors that he'll be back as Cody, but there's also, you know, just the possibility of seeing Ahsoka Tano in live action in a flashback scene with Anakin and Obi-Wan. That's a possibility. That's another awesome one. And Kathleen Kennedy teasing this rematch of the century that shouldn't be happening, because between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, there shouldn't be any more interactions with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, but there's going to be another retconning. But like I said, something from the Ahsoka series could lead to changes in the timeline and stuff that justify this kind of thing, justify some of the retconning Star Wars has done. But but Star Wars has always done retconning, from, you know, Jabba Hutt to who shot first, and just on and on. There's always been, you know, some things that are pretty iffy, even within the original trilogy themselves, things that didn't stick as they went on to create special edition versions and stuff and throw other stuff in there. And so I'm just excited because Obi-Wan's awesome. I want to see Ewan McGregor play Obi-Wan. That's absolutely my favorite character. Then you add in the fact that you're going to have Hayden Christensen back as Anakin. To what degree, I don't know. Flashbacks in the Clone Wars would be cool with Ahsoka, with Obi-Wan. A Qui-Gon Jinn Force Ghost would be pretty cool. There's just so many things in here that could be really, really cool to truly flesh out. What I expect is that Obi-Wan will make it seem as if he's actually died, and that's what leads Darth Vader to just dropping this, because you would think that he would relentlessly try to find and pursue Obi-Wan. So it does make sense that a show like this would happen, considering what Obi-Wan did to him. It does make sense that he would relentlessly pursue Obi-Wan until he actually finds him, and not just give up and go about his business running around being a tyrant for the galaxy, because he's still got that one guy out there that just wrecked him, no matter how powerful he thinks he is. That he's got that one guy out there that absolutely wrecked house with him. So but I do have other concerns, them saying that they're going to include all these female characters. It kind of sounds like that Obi-Wan's got a wide range of supporting characters, and they happen to be female. And of course there's some sort of comedic character in there too, which Obi-Wan's pretty comedic in itself. I don't think you need a comedic character in there, but I'm very curious to see where it goes, what it does, what it accomplished. My highest hopes are flashbacks to the Clone Wars and a Force Ghost Qui-Gon Jinn, maybe a visit to Dagobah, maybe seeing a little Luke and little Princess Leia. These are things that I don't expect, but I've got my fingers crossed for. I've got my, my expectations pretty high for this, and I can't wait to see it. So, with that said, my final thoughts. So let me know in the comment section which show you're most excited for, because these have me hooked. These have me just... I'm really interested to see where it goes, and hopefully it does lead to some kind of disregarding or retconning of the sequel trilogy. And I know that won't set well with some people, but even if they don't do that, I choose to actively ignore the existence of the Disney sequel trilogy. Now I was impressed with the Luke Skywalker thing, and I know a lot of people are like, well, that doesn't make up for what they did with the sequel trilogy. And I'm just like, well, they've learned their lesson, and now they're trying to do things differently. So I just actively choose to ignore the existence of the sequel trilogy because I don't need it. I don't need it to enjoy The Mandalorian or all these other spin-off shows, and to keep Star Wars in my head the way I want it to be, where it's an open-ended book where nothing's set in stone, and these movies don't make it so. These Disney sequel trilogy movies don't make it the official canon or whatever to me, in my eyes. Those are just movies that have no business, no business being in my Star Wars. In my Star Wars, Mandalorian is the true continuation of Star Wars. So that's how I look at it. Or yeah, if there's some things, if Mandalorian ends up disappointing me, I'll just go back to my expanded universe characters. So let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Which shows are you most excited for? Which shows are you least excited for? What are your hopes to come of this? What kind of things do you want to see in there? Let me know. Fate good win here. Eventually we will. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Help promote and rank up my channel. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching this, and stay awesome. Rock on.